actor, comedian Alan Davies. It's a new trick. I kick it that way, it goes all the way around the studio and you end up with the ball.
That was great.
I bet you've had a smile on your face since the end of the season, since May.
I've been smiling a bit like this since the double. I've been like,
You played a bit, and you played for like a showbiz 11, a comedy 11?
I played a game for Comic Relief, but I was fairly inept, I must say. Although we did win 6-2. I think there were a couple of ringers in called Vieira and Petit.
Oh, I see. Well, I played a bit. Do you, when you score a goal in those kind of games, do you still go through all the stuff, the celebrations, the kissing and chasing and everybody?
Oh, your lovies? Oh,
yeah.
They love it, yeah. I'll get a little bit edgy. In fact, I'm thinking about it as I'm through one-on-one.
Really?
Who's nearby? Who's going to snog me? It's like kiss chase in the school playground. I haven't played that since I was 11. What I remember about kiss chase is you can play it up to about 12, because kiss chase, that's a game, but kiss chase, that's illegal.
After the World Cup, I mean, I know whether you like me, I'm a sport nut. I just love, and any of the big events, like next thing I'll be looking at is the Olympics. Is that something you're interested in?
I'm football bonkers, you see.
So not Olympics.
Well, I try to watch the winter.
You don't like Winter Olympics?
What is the point of it, Des? The curling? Did you see the curling? They got the big stone and they slide it up and then they're just shouting at the blokes with the brooms. What? I'm doing my best. Why doesn't he run down and do a bit of sweeping him? Say, you sweep it, you chucked it out the end, not me. I don't know, does that make it go faster or slower? What does that do? And the luge, have you seen that with the shiny, clingy suit and they go... One after another, exactly the same. I think send them all down together. First one out's the winner. Shut the curl down after him, see what happens. Same with the bobsleigh. What's the point? The only time I like the bobsleigh is when it flips over and they're all going like that on the side. I like that. You're sitting there and you go in the living room going, they've got over on the first corner, look at this! And they've got about a mile to go. It's like a moving coconut shy. The other team should have a bucket of balls, and if they hit the helmet... No, I find it a bit dull. And the same in the Summer Olympics.
Would you not go to Sydney?
Well, what's the point of all these events? Like the long jump. They do all that build-up, stepping backwards and forwards. And then they jump into a sandpit. They don't even... Do something when you get in there. Build a castle. Do something. They should have to find all the toy cars that are hidden in there and then invent some amusing scenario or bury themselves really quickly. In the throwing events, they throw things that no one ever throws, don't they? Odd-shaped things like the discus, for goodness, and the javelin. The only reason I watch the javelin is there's the hope that some over-eager official might... Because they run out, don't they? They'd be like, oh! I do think that if he got speared, staggered backwards, got manoeuvred into an ambulance, driven to hospital, the world record would be about 4 miles. They should throw things that people really throw, like the TV remote, and be like, you choose something to watch. Or pants into the laundry basket. I think that would be a good Olympic event.
A nice event, wouldn't it?
That would be a good one. They just stood there like this. He's going for pants and both socks. It's a degree of difficulty of 3.2.
The Aussies, though, I mean, you go down to Australia, well, you went down quite recently. Well, they must be looking forward to that. They'd be proud, wouldn't they?
They're gagging for it, the Aussies. They cannot wait. They've got the whole country in training. In training for all these events, like the 10,000 metres. Well, is there any need for that? If I'm going to say half an hour that takes, round and round, jogging round and round, just get to the end of it. Have them jogging on the spot of the side for half an hour, and then after half an hour, open the gate. Let's go! Vests hanging off them, all scrawny, not athletes, they're refugees, half of them. But they're preparing for everything down there. They want as many medals as possible, and it's not enough that they get medals, it's essential that we Poms should get no medals whatsoever. Moaning, whinging Poms, they can't stand it.
They can't, can they?
They can't, and then nothing bugs them more than the thought of that Aussie flag going up and the little Union Jack in the corner. And us at home going, another one of our boys.
Alan Davies! When it comes to comedy, here's a winner. Say hello once again to Frank Skinner, ladies and gentlemen. Funny guy, Frank Skinner! Down there like a scalded cat, you were.
I was.
Listen, a lot's been going on in your life since you were here just a year ago. What's been happening?
Well, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean...
That's correct. See, I'm frightened to say yes or no now in case you dong me.
I know there's a lot of humour. Last time you were with us, you were talking about your childhood. And a lot of comedians... It's a great source, isn't it, for gags and embroidery?
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people talk about it, but they don't talk about my childhood, but they talk about their own.
Why don't they talk about your childhood?
Because they weren't there, you see. That's the trouble.
Tell us about your childhood.
Well, the thing that sticks in my mind, strangely enough, is sneezing.
Sneezing?
My dad used to do these sneezes that you never hear anymore, that come with a 2-minute warning. You know these sneezes when you go... It's very, very handy, because it gives you a chance to do stuff like put away your stamp collection. Get the food into Tupperware containers, you know. Put Macintoshes on the smaller children. Because when he sneezed, he didn't used to put his hand in. It was, you just let fly, you know. The spray was, it was incredible, right? It used to be like the opening credits to a YE5-0, you know. We often surfed to school on one of our dads. Yes, very often. But it's true. But it wasn't until I went into the big wide world that, for the first time, I discovered middle-class people. The main difference, I think, between a working class and the middle class isn't education and money and all that. It's sneezing. Right? Sneezing? Because I was talking, I met my first ever middle-class person, and he looked at me and he was saying, yes, Frank, actually, oh dear, I have a bit of it. And I thought, that man's just eating a chaffinch. Really worried me. Do you remember Scooby-Doo?
The little...
The cartoon one. That
was it kangaroo, was it?
No,
Scooby-Doo was the dog.
Close, yeah. he looked like a kangaroo from a distance, I thought. Scooby-Doo was the one that used to go... Right? That's how he went. It wasn't.
I'd like to hear another one of them.
It used to go... Right?
Is that good?
That'll wipe off. And it wasn't until 3 weeks ago that I found out that Roy Hattersley did the voice of Skippy. I should have guessed. Now, you're talking about Skippy. Are you talking about Skippy, I think?
No, not really.
Oh, I love Skippy. Skippy was the kangaroo. That was brilliant.
Sorry.
That was a brilliant show. Did you watch Skippy? Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Skippy, if you remember, was owned by a little fat...
They're very keen, aren't they?
I think so. I think Skippy's in tonight, by the sound of it. Skippy was a little kangaroo, and he was owned by this little fat Australian kid with bad skin, who I think grew up to become Clive James. In fact. Or was that Skippy? Anyway, it would always start that Skippy would come bounding in. I don't know if you remember this. And Skippy he was like this. Because there was no decaffeinated coffee in those days. And he'd look up at Sonny like this, and Skippy, he would always go... And Sonny would look down at him and say, "What's that, Skip?" Helicopter crash. 47 miles northwest of Bongaloo, and you know, even as a small child, I used to think, rubbish, right? I mean, for a start-up, I don't think a kangaroo could care less if there was a helicopter crash. I mean, what does their life consist of? Eating and jumping, that's it, isn't it? Not a bad life when you put it like that. Now, I reckon that... imagine that Skippy was saying sort of kangaroo-y type things, really. Stuff like, could I have some leaves, please? So he'd come in and say, could I have some leaves, please, Sonny? And Sonny would say, what's that, Skip? I said, could I have some leaves, please? Helicopter crash? Where? Hey, I must say, I did that. I did this routine in a pub. It's a very rough pub. And I started talking about Skippy, and there's a big bloke at the back, really ugly looking. Got a face like a bulldog licking mustard off a nettle. I'll clean that up a bit. And he looked up.
I know the original.
Yes, but I think they put the right word back in. And I said this thing, Skippy, and he said, yeah, mate, it was Flipper. And I said, no, Flipper was a dolphin, right? It was Skippy the kangaroo. He said, look, mate, it was Flipper. So I got scared and I had to do the whole routine, right, with Flipper instead of Skippy. This is true, so I had Sonny come out and go, ooh, what's that strange wheezing, slithering noise? Oh, it's you, Flip, right? And I had to pick up the dolphin and start going like, as you do. I don't know if you ever picked up a dolphin.
No, not a lot.
You don't go to the right parties,
No,
but I'll get to that. There's one secret to picking up a dolphin, and that's if they struggle, you go like that, and they're very quiet. Obviously.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Next time I've got a handful of dolphins.
Well, they've got to be facing that way, obviously. Yeah, right. So, well, we don't want to get the RSPCA, God forbid. So I had to do it with. If you go, I'm on my own. You know that. Started them off now. So I had to stand there like this, and I said, "What's that, Flip?" And I went. Submarine crash? Of course, by the time I got to the leaves joke, it was dead. So that was
Well, you're off on tour again now.
I'm on tour, and I've taken a leaf out of your book, Des. I'm going to do a song on stage. This could be the beginning, right, I think. And because I like pop music, I used to be... I'll tell you, when I grew up, like, in the 70s, I really fancied, the blonde one in ABBA, right? Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he was nice. No, I liked him.
Mack Skinner, ladies and gentlemen. Right, my next guest is a young comic who has really taken off. He's made a movie from Disney. We've been talking about all these things. Will you welcome him? He's just mad. I might get to talk to him if I can pin him down. Lee Evans, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. All right. Easy. Comedy. Right. I'm ready. Ready. So, get some water, quick. Get some water. So, comedy. It's said, right. The law says if you drop a piece of bread on the floor, it's going to land butter side down, right? But you know the best thing to do is drop the bread, then butter it. You could always butter, like, the floor and then just throw the bread down. All right, wouldn't it? But I sort of watched the film on the coach on the way here, and the screen's too small and you can't hear anything. Not from your car, anyway. Saying. But, easy. But right, just sort this thing out here. But I don't know. I've only just arrived. No, so, it's great to be here. It's good to be here. Brilliant. I should have stayed there. I was having a good time. I don't know. Because, sorry if I'm panicking, because I do. Because if you're back there and they say, you're on! If you catch your brain unawares, it can't, like, take it. Do you know what I mean? It's like trying to get your key in the door. You know when the phone's ringing? It's an easy thing, get the key in the slot, but if the phone's ringing, it's like, phone! All of a sudden, the lock starts moving around. You just can't... I don't know what it is. It's like, I'm coming at my house the other day, you know, and it's always when you're going out the door, you know, you're in a rush, it's like, where's me car keys? Where's me car keys? And it's weird because you'll go to a place, you think you put them, you know. So you go, oh, they're on the, it's all right, they're on the, and they're not there, they're not there. And you search, right, but you keep going back to the same place knowing they're not there. Do you know what I mean? You say, let me just check, because that's where they are, that is where they are. And somebody will always say, try and think back to where you were when you actually lost them. If I knew that, I'd go and get them. I don't know, brain lets you down. It's like this thing, you know, if you see somebody across the road you think you know, and you say, that's John. John! And it's not them, and you go, oh. But if somebody does it to you, you believe them. If somebody goes, John! And you go, yeah! Weird. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, it's like a simple thing. You go to the supermarket, you know, you want to know where the cornflakes are. So you go through the till and you say, excuse me, tell me where the cornflakes are, please. And they say, yeah, just down there on the right. Between the till and the cornflakes, it's gone. It's like, they're on the till going, no, just, I can't. Cornflakes on the shelf going, I'm here, look. Well, thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience. Thank you very much indeed. Been very kind. Thank you.
I've got some tissue.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
You do work hard.
Oh, boy.
You're not exactly the Perry Como of comedy, are you? You rush around a bit.
Yeah, I do. I you know,
burn up a lot of energy.
I do, yeah.
Do you lose weight doing all that?
Well, I mean, I do like sports. So I didn't
You're
like
keen?
it. Well, our football team didn't get to the World Cup, and I was very sad. You know, England, we got beat by the USA, you know. And I reckon we should have sent, you know those cows at the Anger Batter advert? The cows out of the batter advert, that would be great, wouldn't it? That would have messed the Yanks up. They had the cows coming on going, Anger Butter. That would have been great. What I was going to say...
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I watched Damon Hill win the Grand Prix.
You're a motor racing fan?
Well, I was just sort of talking about sport and stuff. I watched him and I thought, you know, because everyone says, you know, Damon Hill, he's British and all that, you know, but he's actually using, like, a French car and foreign mechanics and all that, and I wondered if he's actually used a British... you know, car and mechanics, you know, if he sort of drove into the pits and went, you know, I think there's something wrong with the carb, you know, cost ya. Thursday, is that all right for you? Is that... I don't know. What? Easy.
This movie? You've done a movie?
Yeah.
In Hollywood?
Yeah, well...
Disney?
I thought I was going to go out to Hollywood. But I didn't.
Disney movie?
Disney film, yeah. It was great, because it was involved, like, doing my own stunts and all that. I got sort of stand-in to do the acting parts, but... Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, look. But, yeah, so we sort of... And it involves... Like, it all revolves around sort of Blackpool Circus, and there's loads of stunts, and there's, like... And like, Jerry Lewis is in it, and Oliver Reed.
But did you... Oliver Reed was in it?
He was in it, yeah.
Laying down, standing up...
Des.
Well, we're going to look forward to the movie, and it was nice nearly talking to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Evans. Thank you, Lee. And as you know, we always like to showcase the new talent, especially when they are funny new guys. Here's one making the first appearance ever on mainstream TV. Will you welcome Mack? Now, this is your first time on TV?
No, not at all. It's the first time I've managed to get on without the edit. They edited me out on the last one.
Oh, you've been on TV, but you've been edited out?
They always edit
what
me
was
out.
that?
I was on Blind Date.
I mean, explain.
Well, what happened was I went on, right, and I thought what I'll do is I'll go on Blind Date, but, you know, they plant the questions.
Yeah, well, we've heard this. Yes.
Rumour. Yes. But I thought what I'll do is, just for a laugh, I'll change the questions. So I went on and said, contestant number 1, do you agree, in principle, to federalism encompassing a single European currency? And this woman obviously wasn't expecting that question, because she said, yes, if I was an apple, you could pick me out of the tree any time you like. And I said, that's pretty good. Now, contestant number 2, Cubism is a corruption of the Impressionist ideology. Discuss. And she said, yes, if I could have any job in the world, I'd be a forklift truck driver. And then I'd come round to your house and show you my tits.
She was a bird lover, was she?
Yeah, something like that.
She hadn't lost her budgie or anything like that, had she?
Just anyway. But it didn't matter, because then I heard number 3.
Number 3.
She was perfect. She said, Cubism is a corruption of the Impressionist ideology, but it's also based on early 20th century German dadaism and neo-realism. And I said, that's good. I'll have number 2, please.
So that was the one time you were nearly on TV?
Indeed. I was also on...
You keep switching these strings.
It's quite strong, that drink, isn't it?
It's good, that, isn't it? You might not make this tape if you keep drinking that.
No, I've been on things. I was on Stars in Their Eyes as well. Did you watch that?
You weren't. Oh, I watched it. I don't remember seeing you.
I was edited out of that as well. Because, see, what I thought I'll do on that is I thought I'll go on, but just for a laugh, I'll change my mind at the last minute about who I'm supposed to be.
Oh, you're a little terror.
So, I went on, right? I had my little chat at the beginning, like you do. I went, hello, Matthew, can you patronise me? And he said, He said, you've got an interesting little story to tell us, haven't you? And I said, yes, it's very interesting, because wherever I go, I get teased, because everyone says that I look like this person. I'm walking down the street, people ask for my autograph, you know, the usual sort of thing. And, in fact, in restaurants, people think I am this person. I'm sure all the viewers at home can see who I'm going to be. And Matthew said, who are you going to be? I said, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be the drummer from Kajagoogoo.
So you didn't make that tape?
Didn't make that tape. I was on 3, 2, 1 as well.
3, 2, 1?
Oh, yes.
Hang on. You must have been 9. 3, 2, 1?
It doesn't really matter, because I'm making this up. But I was on 3, 2, 1, and what happened was, I'd never thought of that. I would be 9, wouldn't I?
Go on, we'll believe you.
I was on 3, 2, 1, and I got to that bit at the end. You know when you think you've won the prize, but you haven't? And Ted Rogers said to me, right, you're the winner of the prize, but before we look at it, we're going to have a quick reminder of the clue. You will laugh and you will squeal when you drive this thing, it's got 4 wheels.
A car?
A car, exactly. He said, well, let's think about the clue carefully. What else has got 4 wheels? That's right, a unicycle sellotaped to a tricycle. Now, who rides a unicycle? That's right, a clown. Clown rhymes with town. Town rhymes with brown girl in the ring. Tra-la-la-la-la. She looks like a sugar in a plum pudding. Christmas Day, very nice. After your turkey. Turkey, Istanbul. Bulldozer, bullworker, bull in the field. Field of dreams. Dreaming of a white Christmas. Christmas presents. Wrapping paper. What do you do with wrapping paper? You throw it in the bin. That's right, you've won Dusty Bin. And then I said something which I can't say in this programme, and that's why I was edited out.
What? Oh, you said something naughty?
Yeah, I said... No, I didn't.
Where are you from? Well, I'm trying to work out the accent.
Southport.
Up north then, Lancashire?
Yes,
but you're not a traditional northern comic, you know, the way we would see them. You're not, are you?
Well, that's the thing. If you go... I think if people think of you as a northern comic, they think that you're going to be quite sexist. That's the thing, because a lot of them do tell mother-in-law jokes and things like that. Would you ever do that?
Oh, no.
But,
I've got too many of them.
But what, you see, it's true that people do think that you're going to start being like that, and it's not the case. I mean, I do a lot of satirical, topical stuff, and there's something I've been talking a lot recently, and that's this debate about women and whether they should be allowed in boxing. I'm not going to use this as a forum for women's rights, but it needs to be said. There was an idiot on the radio the other day, and he said, I'm sorry, but the boxing ring is no place for a woman. I thought, what an idiot. That's the best bit, isn't it, when they hold the numbers up? I love that
Now, I'm told that you're just back from Ireland. Is that where you're working,
Yes.
a holiday? Or...
Working. I actually found out as well that Limerick's the hometown of the band The Cranberries. Did you know that?
Oh, the Cranberries, yeah, big band.
I had a lot of problems buying their album because I thought, I'm in Ireland, I'm going to buy an album by an Irish band. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. But I went into this shop and I said, I want to buy the Cranberries album. And he said, the current album. And I said, no, the Cranberries album! And he said, what format do you want? I said, I don't know, it's from my sister. He said, CD, single? I said, yes, that's her. Have you met her? But a little secret for you here, a little tip that I found out. This is the most important thing if you ever go to Ireland that I found out. Never, ever, has anyone seen the show Riverdance? Yeah. Never buy the cheap tickets. This is a true story, I promise you. It was £5 to get in, and I remember thinking, that's quite cheap. A few people from Yorkshire looking at me going, cheap? That's a bloody house. But it is cheap, I promise you. And the reason why it's so cheap is because, can I demonstrate what happened?
Yeah.
£5 to get in, right? The seats are lower down at the back than the ones in the front. Mm-hmm. So I'm sat right at the back like this, and I'm trying to watch the show, and I've got all these big heads in front of me, so I could only see the dancers from the waist up. Now, I'm a big fan of Irish dancing, don't get me wrong, but that meant, because of all the big heads in front of me, I spent 2 hours watching Michael Flatley going like this. 2 hours of that! I thought that was it. I thought that's all they did. I just presume that's how you impress Irish people. So you can imagine my embarrassment a couple of weeks later. I'm on the dance floor in Dublin, chatting up a girl in my usual classy northern way. I'm like, hello, are you an electrician? And she said, why? I said, I'll tell you why, because when you came in the room tonight, you gave off a certain spark that sent a current racing through my body. Hi. And, smooth. Yeah, oh yeah. And she said, are you a fishmonger? And I went, why? And she said, you stink. It didn't put me off. I said, come on, let's dance. This'll impress you. Don't run away. Come back. I love you.
Lee Mack, ladies and gentlemen. Well done. Well done, Lee. Just nod away. Lee Mack. Say hello to Ed Byrne. Hello there, Edward.
Cheers, Dave.
Is he Edward? Is he Edward?
It is actually Edward, yeah.
Take a pew, Ed. Take a pew.
Thank you very
When we get a comic who's not been on a show before, I like to learn a few things about them. So I don't know much about you. Are you a single guy? Are you married?
No, well, I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I do have a girlfriend. I always say that as well. I never say I'm seeing a woman, because I think that makes my girlfriend sound like an hallucination. You know, I'm seeing a woman every morning in my cornflakes. What does it mean? No, I'm
It's steady,
seeing
is
her.
it? This is steady.
Yeah, it's very... she is. I'm not, but yeah. It's, no, it is. I never like saying I'm seeing a woman, though, because I always just think it sounds silly. I'm seeing a woman, hopefully going to move on to touching a woman. I reckon making a love to a woman is just around the corner. You know, so that... We're going out together. Actually, we're not even going out together anymore, because we now live together, which means we now go out separately. Because there's nothing to talk about when we're sitting in together. You know? That's the thing about living with someone, I find, you know.
Do you advise living together? Do you like...
It's nice, but I do think personally, I think it's actually much easier to have a relationship with someone you don't live with, basically. Because I think it's much easier to have an argument with someone you don't live with. Because if you don't live with them, you don't have to finish the argument, you know. You can just make a dramatic exit. You can just storm off, and there's nothing they can say to you because you're not there anymore. It's brilliant, yeah. If it gets too much, you just go, right, if you're going to be like that about it, then be like that. I'm going. And off we go. I mean, it helps if you've got the hair. But you can't do that when you live together. Because when you live together, it's more like, right, if you're going to be like that about it, then be like that. I'm going into the kitchen. It doesn't really have the same effect, you know. And then you sit there in the kitchen going, why couldn't we have had the argument in the kitchen? I could be sitting in the sitting room right now.
The girlfriend, is this a love at first sight situation? I mean, did you... I'm interested in this unromantic era. Was it... Oh,
I don't know. I don't really believe in love at first sight. I think love takes time. I think you know when you've fallen in love, when you reach that stage where you can't stand to see the other person suffer in any way, you know? You know, I get this with my girlfriend. If she falls over, if she cuts her knee, anything like that, I wish it hadn't happened, you know? I almost wish it had happened to me instead, you know? Honestly, really. No, I know, but it's true. It's like any kind of pain, any kind of discomfort she feels, I wish she didn't feel it. I wish I felt her pain for her. rather than hear her bloody moan about it. You know.
I'm always intrigued where comics get material from. And you're obviously doing what a lot of the young guys are doing today.
Yeah.
You know, it's observation, embroidering it. Any other sources?
Well, I draw on the people around me. I think a great source for comedy is just stupid people.
Are there a lot of us out there? Or a lot of them out there?
Yeah, and it's international as well. It's everywhere. Like, I remember, stupid people are brilliant. I remember I was in Australia, and I'm not saying people in Australia are stupid, they're not, but I was in this dressing room, and I basically had done this show in Australia on TV, because they don't know I'm nobody over here. And I did the show, and it was recorded on a Monday, and then it was shown on the telly on the Thursday, and I was sitting watching myself on the telly on the Thursday, in the dressing room of the club I was playing. And this photographer, she was in the dressing room, and she actually looked at me, watching myself on the telly, and said to me, is this live? How talented do you think I am? You know, it's weird. I just love stupid people like that. I remember, even before I did this job, I used to work in an office, and I remember there was a girl there, and I thought she was quite intelligent. It turned out she was thick as, 2 planks, right? She came up to me, she goes, Ed, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I said, well, working here for a start, because even then I was funny. She said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I can't seem to get the fax machine to work properly. So I said, well, show me what you're doing, and I'll tell you what you're doing wrong, you know, because I wanted to sleep with her. So we go up to the fax machine, she's put the fax in the right way, she's pressed all the right buttons, she's dialed the right number, she's sent the fax. And I go, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, you've sent, yeah, you know, what are you worried about? And she goes, no, and she picks up the fax that she's just sent. And she's gone, no, but it's still here.
You said you were a clerk. I can't imagine you doing a day job. I mean, you just seem like you had to be a comic.
I did. I mean, I really respect people who can do real jobs, you know. I think the people the most respect for is firefighters. I think they're brilliant, right? And it's not just for fighting fire. I could never be a firefighter because I'm really weak and scared of fire. But the main reason I can never do it is because all the stuff they get asked to do that's got nothing to do with fire, you know? Stuff like cutting people out of cars and stuff like that. Stuff that has nothing whatsoever to do with fire. That would really annoy me if I was a fireman. You know, if I was a fireman, I'd be like, what's that? Your son's got his head stuck in some railings. Are they on fire? No, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I can't help you there. No, I don't know the number of the railings, man. Sorry. Yeah. What's that, your cat stuck up a tree? You don't suppose it's a burning tree by any chance, is it? Tell you what, go set the tree on fire, call me back. How's that? I mean, no, do people think that firemen are the only men in town who own a ladder? Call a window cleaner, you tight git.
One of the great Irish exports, apart from Guinness, is the river dance.
Oh,
is that something that fills you with pride?
No. I won't tell you what it fills me with.
What
no.
does it fill you with?
Oh, God. No, because the thing about river dance is, you know, the reason it tours the world, the reason it's in every single country is because it was asked to leave Ireland. Honestly. I mean, only we would invent a dance where you only move your feet, you know? It's like, you know, it's like, shall we do the hands? No, this'll be grand, don't go worrying about hands. No, let the Scottish do the hands, flash gits that they are. No. You keep your hand on your change, mate, that's what you want to do. Honestly, I mean, if you compare it to other dances around the world, you know, I mean, you go somewhere like New Zealand, say, they've got a brilliant national dance, they've got have you ever been to New Zealand?
Yeah, many times.
You go there, and they've got a brilliant national dance. They've got the native Maori dance, the haka.
Oh, the haka.
Yeah, it's a really powerful, really emotive, really intimidating dance. And when the All Blacks do it at the start of a rugby match, it just scares the living daylights out of the other team, you know. Couldn't imagine the Irish rugby team going out at the start of a match on the line. Right, lads, here we go. Oh, striking fear into the hearts of the enemy now.
What about the English? What about our Morris dance?
Well, I'm just thinking, I couldn't imagine a bunch of Morris dancers doing any better, so I don't know what you're laughing. Look out, lads, they've got hankies. Run for your lives. Morris dancing makes me laugh, honestly. Why do Morris dancers wear bells? So the blind can be irritated by them as well.
contest tonight, a young comedian, funny man, wins awards. Have I got news for you? It's Paul Merton. You needn't have dressed, Paul. You needn't have gone to all this...
No, well, I felt as if I should make a special effort.
Very kind of you. And it's good to see a glimmer of a smile there, because... Well, you
What
are...
a strange laugh that individual has.
You are kind of a mournful creature. Not more... Hangdog, I think, is the look.
Yes, I suppose so. Yeah.
Give us a full, big smile.
Big smile, which in the camera too.
Yes, bring in the camera. Let's...
I have to use my fingers, I think.
Let's change the subject. Let's talk about Have I Got News for You?
Yes.
What's Angus Dayton really like?
Oh, he's lovely. Oh, he's so wonderful. He's so exciting. He's so interesting. He's so good looking.
Do you think he is the thinking woman's, you-know-what?
What, anorak? Possibly, yeah. Fish tank, maybe, yes. Egg whisk, yes, he probably is, yes.
What's he in this Hislop? I mean, he seems kind of cuddly, Ian.
Yes,
Hislop.
Ian's very nice. I mean, there is a sort of lot of on-screen sort of rivalry that goes on, but that's just to keep it interesting, really, because I said to Ian when we started doing it, we shouldn't become too pally, because we can sort of get material out of sort of having a go at each other as well. And it seems that with that kind of show where you are sort of like making sort of fairly barbed comments about people, you can't sort of like keep yourself immune from that. You also have to have a go at each other, I think, as well.
Why do they always put you with a politician? If there's a politician, you get them.
I do. Well, Ian's a sort of journalist, so he gets the comic, and I'm a comic, so I get the politician or the journalist. And that's sort of... Sometimes you get the raw end of the deal, because some of them turn up and you might as well have a bit of driftwood there.
Well, you did once. You had a pot of lard there, right?
Oh, yeah, we had a tub of lard once, yes. That was actually more successful than some of the politicians we've had on. The lard's now doing a tour of its own.
It's rather than that show and your own show, you're on tour at the moment.
Yes.
Are you doing stand-up stuff?
There is a bit of stand-up in it as well. There's quite a bit of stand-up.
You do impressions as well?
Well, they're not very good impressions, but they're sort of there. We do a sort of mock pantomime, and so when we sort of like elaborate on some of the sort of devices I use in pantomime, and suddenly I do impressions. I do Cary Grant very badly.
Give us a bad Cary
A very
Grant.
bad Cary Grant. Are you crazy, Inspector? Someone tried to kill me last night.
You're right, that's bad. That's bad. That's really bad.
That's very bad.
You got any other bad ones?
I do a very bad Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, let's have a bad Alfred Hitchcock.
Good evening. That's very bad Alfred Hitchcock.
That's not bad. That's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It is awful. But the audience love it because quite clearly I can't do impressions. But when I've been on stage for about an hour and a half then, so it's all right.
So you do stand-up routines and show on tour?
Yes, I do. Let me see what I do. I'd hate to give up smoking because I don't smoke. If I had to give up smoking, I'd have to start, and I've tried starting. I just haven't got the willpower. There's all kinds of methods for people who want to give up smoking. There's nicotine, chewing gum, hypnotism. My aunt used to pour a gallon of petrol over herself every morning. You know, stuff like that, you know.
Any more? I love it.
She couldn't light up, you know, the idea being that she couldn't light up without turning herself into a human fireball. But it didn't stop her.
She went for it.
Yeah. She'd be in the living room, you'd hear a cough and a whoosh. She was up to 60 whooshes a day by the end of it.
Any more of those goodies before we move on?
Let's see. I mean, there's all kinds of things, you know. I went into a news agency the other day. I said, have you got a copy of Psychic News? He said, you tell me.
This book, Paul Merton's History of the 20th Century, a little modest title you've given it.
Yes,
Paul Merton's History of the 20th... A lot of wonderful pictures in here. Who are some of the great comedy characters or comic figures of the 20th century?
I don't know. Well, I mean, you've got all the sort of, you know, you've got the great comedians and stuff, you know, Max Miller and all that. But I suppose you've got these other people who unintentionally have made fools of themselves. Like, I think Ben Johnson, the guy who took drugs to win, you know, the 100 metres. And because during that whole Ben Johnson drug scandal, I heard somebody say on television, "No, I think athletes should use any means at their disposal to improve their times." And I thought, well, that's all right with me. I'll have a motorbike then. quite good standing next to Cole Lewis on the starting line, isn't it? Been training hard, have you? Don't worry about me. You go any time you like. Go on, up here. There's a sidecar, body. That's my next-door neighbour. He wants to win a gold medal as well.
Lovely thoughts. Right, this book. Paul Merton's History of the 20th Century. Unpretentious, modest little title. These pictures, can we take a look at one or two of these pictures?
Yes,
because it's full of very interesting pictures. What's this one here? See if we can have a look at this one.
Oh, yes, this is the world's first mobile phone. It wasn't successful.
No. Let's have a look at another one here.
Yes, this is the official sport of pointing. Well, a lot of people don't realise now, but in the 1900s, pointing was an Olympic sport.
Who's the one at the back?
Oh, she's a groupie.
Let's have a look at another one.
This is the Ku Klux Klan's annual beauty contest, I reckon.
What is that?
Oh, this was an invention in the 40s. This is the automatic pet propeller. To make your dog feel part of the housework, there's a jet of warm air comes out the vacuum cleaner and keeps them at a height of about 3 feet. Although tragically, it was set for Irish wolfhound by mistake, and the poodle shot through the ceiling and gave a heart attack to the bloke next door.
Paul Merton's History of the 20th Century. Well, our thanks to Paul for coming along. Lots of laughs and lots of success. Paul Merton, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a funny man you'll have seen on TV, and never mind the buzzcocks. Big man, big personality. Will you please welcome Phil Jupitus? To get down here, Phil. Need a Mack.
All right. No screaming.
It's good to have... I've been looking forward to having you on the show.
Thank you, mate.
Yes, I really have. Now, people looking at you might not know what your hobbies are. We're going to find an in-depth little talk with you here.
All right.
Is that right that you're interested in classic FM music?
I like the classic, and I know a lot of you know I do the pop show and think, you must be a rocker. But no, I like the classical music. Now, I listen to Classic FM. I'm sorry to, advertise them on your show, Des. I like it because it plays classical music and it's got Henry on it. It's got Henry Kelly, the king of broadcasters. He's fantastic. Have you heard Henry?
Oh,
Do you listen to Henry?
Yes,
Oh, what a lovely piece of music that was. Lilting, lyrical, it had notes, everything. Oh. And if I could find the cover, I'd be after telling you who it was by. Oh, found it. That was Beethoven, and that was his 9th symphony. 9 of them. 9. And he was deaf, you know, a remarkable man. Well, after the break, we're going to have some Bach and some Mozart. But I was listening to it, I swear, I was listening to him once, and he's playing a bit of what he called Vivaldi, and it was that one that goes, da, 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 I was listening, it went, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. You know that, Des?
Oh, da, 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 da.
Car 4, it's a pick up in the old Kent. I was thinking, I don't remember that. Don't remember that bit. Little funny. And it's a minicab company, wasn't it? And, most minicab companies could operate on, bean tins and string, couldn't they? You know what I mean? Pull it tighter, 2-4, you're breaking up. See, I live out in Essex, Des, and that's a long way for a radio signal to go, if you think about it. It's like 60 miles from South East London, where I live in Essex. So it's a very long way for a signal to go. And I was thinking, if you think about the physics of it, radio goes north, south, east, west, and up.
Yeah.
And so this could happen, right? Mission control. This is the shuttle here. We're about to make the repairs to the Hubble Space Telescope. Do you have any final technical instructions before we commence repairs? Over. Yeah, she pick up in barking, over. Mission control. This is astronaut Jackson here on the shuttle again. Could you repeat that last order, mission control? Over. Stop mucking me about, Terry. I've got 2 Billy Bunters in Barking who want to go to bleeding Lakeside. I don't know.
It could happen.
It could happen. Never do it.
Well, you said you're from Essex.
Yeah.
Now, you're from Essex. These jokes were flying around Essex girls, and that. Were they justified?
The Essex women are feisty and individualistic ladies. To a woman, I like them a lot. You have to, you know, I have to be treated with kid gloves, Des. You've probably, you know, in your career, worked in Essex in your time, you know.
Perfectly.
It's your own problem, Des. Yeah, I find you can't make eye contact with them unless you know them socially already, women in Essex. I had a situation the other day in Basildon where I made eye contact with a woman, and you'll be walking along the street, minding your own, and you'll see a lady, you'll make eye contact with her, and something like this will happen if you don't know. What you looking at, eh, fatty? Hey! Take a picture, it'll last longer. Pervert! Debbie, the bloke, the fat bloke. Pervert! He's a bloody pervert! He's looking at me! He's bloody looking at me! And I, you know, Des, I was horrified. You know, I was sorry, I didn't mean anything. I'm sorry. If I could just have 10 first-class stamps, I'll be on my way.
I know you're a married guy. What does your wife think about you being a comic? Does she like that? Do you like what you do?
No, she thinks I'm rubbish.
Oh, come on.
She hates me. I'm way down a long list of turns. I'll go into the kitchen, I've got a new gag, babe, and I do it, and she'll go... She likes Eddie Izzard, Harry Hill, Vic and Bob, all more than me. You know, if I ever come to one of my gigs, I have to do it, you know, in the style of... I have to, like, go, two fat blokes, walk into a pub, true story. It was me and my dad, yes. Nothing at all, you know. I have to do Harry Hill. I go, what are the chances of that happening? You know, it's the only way. It's the only way I get anything out of her. Des, what's a man to do?
Well, you're good with those voices. Is that something you work on and practice?
It's something, it's an evil gift.
Is it?
I can do it. I'm not an impressionist, you know, but you can do the occasional voice. It's like, I spent some time with... If you spend time with the actual people... Jonathan Ross did Nevermind the Buzzcocks, and it was... a lot of fun having him on. And I was able to do his voice when I heard him pronouncing my surname, which was the way Jonathan pronounces it, which is Jupitus. What a great situation. It's great to be here on the show, totally unbelievable. It's a big talent I'm sat next to, ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful Mr. Des O'Connor. And it's just that sort of comes to you. And I can do Robbie Coltrane without saying a word. Young cracker. I'd like a bag of chips, please.
Now, you are a one, I know, for taking a true story and maybe embroidering it just a little. What's your favourite true story, or a recent one?
I couldn't believe it, right? A woman is suing London Zoo because, right, she went there for a day out and an elephant threw a log at her. Honestly, she goes there. It's not in the brochures, none of that. It doesn't say, watch out for Jumbo, he's tooled up and cross, you know. She went there to the zoo, perfectly calm for the day, and the elephant threw, you know, and she woke up. She was knocked out for about half an hour, woke up, a little cross, decides she's going to take the zoo to court. Now, I'm no great legal expert myself, Des, you know. I'm no brief, I'm no rumpole. But if I was acting for London Zoo, I think my first question to the lady, once I got her on the stand, would be, excuse me, sweetheart. Exactly how stupid do you have to be not to see an elephant with a log You know, it's a fairly large animal with a bit of tree. It's not like it's a squirrel with a flick knife, is it? It's, you know, a badger with nunchuckers. It's an elephant with a log. And it happened in the elephant house, Des. I'd have a degree of sympathy for this woman if it had happened in the aquarium. She's checking out the turtles, minding her own, suddenly from behind the tank. And presumably, right, if she has been assaulted by an animal at London Zoo, they're going to have a line out. She's going to have to go and identify it. She's going to have to go to Camden Nick, and it's going to be, right, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Number 6. Number 2. Would you trumpet, please? Number 5. Would you trumpet, please? You got the copper in the back room behind the mirror going, any of them ring any bells, sweetheart?
Phil Jupitus.
What do I say about my next guest? He's unusual, he's off the wall, and he's very, very funny. One of a kind. Prepare for the brilliant comedy mind of Steven Wright.
Thanks. So I get off the plane and I forgot to undo my seatbelt and I'm pulling the plane through the terminal. And the wings are knocking people over. And I said, oh, sorry, I didn't notice. Then I almost broke both my arms trying to hold open a revolving door for someone. Last time I tried to commit suicide was about an hour ago. I was down the street on the roof of this very tall building I ran. I leaped off the edge and I accidentally did a triple backflip, landed standing on my feet. Nobody saw us but 2 little kittens, and one of them said to the other one, see, that's how you do that. Then I went to a store and I asked the woman if she had anything to put underneath the coasters. I told her my coasters were marking up my tables. Sometimes I like to just go into a waiting room and just sit there and wait. The nurse comes out. Do you have an appointment? Nope, just waiting. I bought 1 walkie-talkie. I didn't want anyone to hear what I was saying. I remember when I was a fetus, I used to sneak out at night. I used to sneak out at night when my mother was sleeping. And I thought to myself, you know, now's the time I should start stealing some stuff since I don't have any fingerprints. Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Good. I don't want to rush you, Steve. Just take it nice and easy. Nice and... Good to... I nearly said good to have you here. I'm not sure you are here.
Different ratios, different ratios. Yeah. I'm hearing different ratios. I'm feeling kind of wired.
How long have you been thinking like this? Yours is I have to say, it's a weird mind.
Well, it all started, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. My grandfather was an odd man. I remember when he died, I went to the wake with my aunt, and I was kneeling down, I was looking at him in the casket, and I started thinking about my flashlight, and I started thinking about the batteries inside my flashlight. And then I said to my aunt, maybe he's not dead, maybe he's just in the wrong way.
Where are you living these days? Where are you? I mean, you've moved on since your childhood days, haven't you? Cross country?
Yeah, I live in Santa Monica, California.
Nice part of the world, down there, Florida.
Yeah, it's nice. I live in an apartment or a house or something.
Not working out yet?
I haven't decided yet. I have fake brick wallpaper over real brick walls. People come over, they say, you gotta touch it, it feels real. And the people who lived there before... Are we on now? Is this
We're on, but you're on. That's for sure. But I'm not sure what.
I didn't know we were that tall. So, what were we talking about?
Not a lot. You're,
Yeah, I got to live in an apartment. I got a new phone. The first thing I did was push redial.
Brand new phone?
The phone started having a nervous breakdown. The phone was twitching like this. It was twitching. And the people who lived there before must have had a lot of paintings and pictures because there's hooks all over in every room. There's just down the halls and everything. I only have one painting, so every few days I just move it to another.
You live alone? I mean, what would a woman do with that kind of behavior?
Well, I live, right now I live alone. I had a girlfriend for a while, excuse me. Oh, I can hear the H's hitting the O's. You know, the human body is made up of 98% water.
98% water.
That means everybody is that far away from drowning. I could kill myself right now. Yes. What were we talking about?
You're a bit of a loner.
Oh, the loner, my girl. I had a girlfriend, but she tried to control me. She was too restricting in the way she was like, we just didn't see the way I thought and the way she thought. Wasn't,
I can understand
It was
that.
just like, she tried to control me too much. Like, the last thing that happened was we were having dinner one night, and she said to me, pass the salt. And I said, that's it.
Not taking that stuff, eh?
No, I've got to have my space. I have to be able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. Not that I would, I'm not violent, but I'm into astronomy now, so I installed a skylight in my house, and the people who live above me are furious.
I'm not sure where to take you now.
Take me.
Part to the local clinic, maybe.
What are you drinking there?
That's a little of your old country stuff. It's bourbon.
Oh.
A little lemonade. You a drinker?
I don't drink. I can't drink. I get very...
What? You get what? I thought you were going to say you slowed down. That's frightening.
Yeah, it makes me quiet and stuff.
Okay, so you don't drink.
No.
You are very much a man who thinks about his fellow man. I'm told you, it's just behind you. I'm told that... I'm told that you spend a lot of time... You're going to do a workout?
I spend a lot of time.
You spend a lot of time helping others, helping the young people in the country.
Well, I work at a camp for kids, counseling summer camp, you know, where they go for the summer
Sure.
and do
Summer camp,
things and activities, and I was in charge of activities, but I couldn't really think of anything for them to do.
Do you have any idiosyncrasies?
Well, I'm addicted to one thing. You know, on the dryer, you know, the dryer for the clothes. You know that thing with the fluff, that screen with the fluff? You take the screen out because all the fluff's on. I'm addicted to the lint, the fluff there, and I keep taking the lint and fluff out, and I break pieces of it off, and I put it in all my pockets. And I'm like recycling fluff. And next time I go see the doctor, I'm going to take a giant piece of it like this. I'm going to put it right in my belly button. He'll say, take off your shirt, please. What the hell is that? And I'll say, that's why I came to see you.
You're a fascinating man.
Thank you very much.
What are you going to do when you get back home? What are you doing? Is something interesting, something
Well, I have to...
exciting?
I have to do some time, actually. I'm embarrassed to say I have to do...
You got to do some time?
Do some time in behind bars. I was arrested recently. I was arrested for lip-syncing karaoke.
Well, on that happy note, unless there's anything else you'd like to discuss, or you have any problems you want to talk about?
I'd just like to say that I wish that everyone will have a very happy...
Christmas?
Whatever they want, and that someday things will be... whatever.
And always remember, wherever you go, there you are. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Wright. Welcome, Steve Coogan.
I'm all right.
Good to see you. Well, now, obviously, running a show like this, the first person I want to talk about is him, Alan Partridge,
Oh, yeah.
talk show king. Now, how was he born, and more important, why?
Well, there are a lot of people who think he should have been strangled at birth.
Yeah.
But he's helped me pay the bills, so I quite like him, really. How was he born? He was born on Radio 4.
Oh, he started on radio? I didn't know.
Yeah, he started on Radio 4. It just said, there was a script, and it just sort of said sports presenter. And I sort of did this amalgam of every sports presenter I could think of. I sort of did this... this sort of voice that's very sort of professional, very enunciated, very clear, and very professional. It's one of those presenters who actually, even though he's not quite sure what to say next, keeps speaking, because that's what professionals do.
That's right, they do that. That would have been fine. I'd have been happy for Alan to stay there, but then he became a talk show host based on anyone in particular?
Oh.
What are you looking at me for? No? No, did you base him on anyone?
Well, he's sort of the recipe for Alan Partridge is sort of various ingredients. I was sort of a spoonful of Alan Titchmarsh, a ladleful of Richard Madeley, and you know, a few slices of David Coleman, sprinkled liberally with a bit of Des O'Connor.
Oh, thank you.
You see, no, but I'm just saying it the nicest possible way. I mean, you're like Alan Partridge is like you, but without the class.
Oh, you crawler, Steve, you crawler. A lot of people, Steve, didn't get the joke.
No, I know.
No, my cleaner lady, Jean, she came in and followed me. She said, did you see that obnoxious talk show host last night? She said, you're better than him.
It's funny, because my cleaning lady loves you.
Yes.
So there you go. But no, actually, I've got a couple of letters here. This is from the when we first did the radio show. Yeah. And there was a lot of letters of complaint by people who thought it was real. And these are genuine letters of complaint. I'll just read you a bit out, right? Dear Sir, for 30 years or more, I've listened to Radio 4, and never once have I felt it necessary to write to you to protest about one of your programmes. Last Tuesday evening, I happened to hear a programme called Knowing Me, Knowing You with Alan Partridge. I turned it off and turned to Classic FM for a little soothing music. Last night, Alan Partridge was on the air again, and the first guest was a 9-year-old child genius with his father. I have to say that the child had more good manners in his little finger than Alan Partridge had in his 37-year-old body. And at the end of the interview, Partridge told the child that he thought he was a little shit. I consider this is outrageous behaviour, and Partridge should be shown the door immediately. If you think that being rude to people on radio programme is funny, then I can assure you that your listeners do not. I should like to suggest that this man's programme is taken off the air with immediate effect, and we hear no more of him at the BBC. And there's another one. It's a slightly different one here. Here we are. One more. Dear Madam, Sir, I'm writing to request that the governors be asked to listen to a programme that I wished I had not heard. Last Tuesday, 1st December, on Radio 4 at 6:30 p.m, called Knowing Me, Knowing You. Mr. Alan Partridge would be the last person in the world I would wish to know, or indeed any of his researchers listed in the Radio Times. They're actually both written by women, but I just think it sounds better with an old bloke's voice.
Alan Partridge, you know, he made a few boo-boos along the way and got shunted up to Norwich doing morning regional radio, and we have a clip, and it has to be seen to be believed.
Go on, you were talking about cow bringing in.
Yeah, we bring them in from milking, and then all that can go...
Pop the straitjackets on them.
What?
Thanks very much for being this morning's farmer, Robert Moon. Robert, did you have your breakfast this morning?
Well, I reckon the way things are...
Can you just answer yes for the purposes of a joke?
Yes.
In which case, you must be a full moon. Hello?
I'm still here.
Yeah, I was making a pun on your name.
All right.
Anyway, thank you very much for being this morning's farmer. Caroline, line 4, hello.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, have you got a brain, or is your head just full of shit?
Okay, Mike from Polgrave, are you there, sir?
Oh, you ignorant c...
He's definitely wasted on the radio. Get him back on the... Are we going to see more of him on TV?
Well, not for a while. We always think, you know, sort of less is more. I don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive. But no, we think we'll do something in a couple of years. But we think we've seen him at rock bottom. I think he should start to do well again. We're thinking of maybe getting him on regional television news. You know, I can see him sort of in the next series, you know, going, hello and welcome to Look East with Alan Partridge. You know, and sort of doing some news stories on there. So he might be doing quite well in the next series. You know, I've got a slightly better car.
You are an actor, and a fine actor. Don't embarrass you, but you're a fine actor.
So I agree with you. I'll never argue with you, Des.
Well, Peter Sellers, a lot of the people that start off with impressions, like, you know, actors like I mean, that's the first grounding, and then they go onto films. What are your first impressions of your impressions? That
very clever, very clever. That's sort of an Alan, isn't it? What are your first impressions of your impressions? The first thing I used to do all the... I told a friend I was coming on the show, and he said, please, whatever you do, don't do a Frank Spencer impression. That really is scraping the barrel. So, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. So that was probably the first one I did, and then I went on to all the others. You know, I did Spitting Image for...
You did all the voices on that at one time?
When you start off on Spitting Image, when you're sort of like trainee voice man, they let you do... you start off just... because there's people like Harry Enfield working on it, and Chris Barry, and I was a new boy, and all you get first of all is like do the voices of bits of fruit and things like that talk, you know.
Bits of fruit?
Yeah, well, you know, occasionally they animate bits of fruit and cabbages and things, and they say, who's the new boy? Steve, can you do the voice of this cabbage? And you know. Hello, I'm a cabbage. There's not a lot you can do with that, you know. And then eventually, you know, when they all go, you start to get you're sort of very keen. You go, they say, oh, who can do Neil Kinnock? You go, oh, can I do him? I can do Neil Kinnock. You know, hello, that's right. I speak like that, but little Paddy. You know,
was that before or after your radio commercial days?
Oh,
that's a grounding.
It is. I used to do loads of radio commercials. I did all those I did things like, get down to Top Man today. Horrible acrylic sweaters only $3.99. Horrible polyester trousers only $14.99. It's all going to go, so hurry, hurry, hurry. I did that, you know, which is I never thought I'd get a round of applause for that. You know.
Well, people recognise that instantly.
They do, but it always struck me as bizarre because nobody ever speaks like that. Nobody speaks like that in the real world. Imagine going for a drink to the pub and someone saying, hey, Des, what are you having? I'm going to the bar to get the drinks in. It's last ordered and it's your round, so hurry, hurry, hurry. speak like that. It was so bizarre. And the thing is, because I'm a northerner, I've got a northern accent, but I did a lot of those straight voiceovers. I'd sort of turn up at the studio and they'd say, "Are you here to do the straight voice?" And that's the kind of BBC type voiceover. And I'd turn up and say, "All right, now let's get this over," and we go down pub, you know, and they'd say, "OK, and we're recording now," and I go, "Now there's even more for your money at Asda." And, you know, sort of smooth. And I do other stuff like you'd get these kind of... They'd have some really crummy, unfunny sketch, and afterwards you'd have to put a sort of laugh in your voice and say, "If you want a better deal from Ford," then, you know, you'd have to sort of pretend to laugh at what was going on.
You did a great Wogan.
I did a good one, which I used to do the "Hello, and welcome to Wogan. And on tonight's show, apart from talking a load of baloney for the first 5 minutes, I'm going to be doing all kinds of ballyhoo." That's right.
You got a West End stage show started?
That's right. I'm doing a big show.
At the Lyceum? Is it a one-man show?
Sort of one man. There's lots of dancers and musicians and things.
Alan Partridge going to be there?
Oh, he'll be there, yeah.
Tony Farina?
Tony Farina, Paul Calf, Pauline Calf, and you know, a few other stuff, and lots of sketches and singing and dancing. It's sort of because a lot of comedians go around just sort of standing in front of a microphone. I thought, you know, I'm going to put on a proper show. Yeah. The old days, you know, proper shows. You know about that, don't you?
Theatre, I remember that.
Yeah.
But thanks for taking out. You don't do this very often. Just sitting there as Steve.
Only for special people.
Steve Coogan. Good on you, Steve. Steve Coogan.